Good morning. This is Jamal Hassan from the Voice Studio in Washington, D.C., USA. Welcome to Jamal Hassan Show. The voice is your voice. Today, I'm going to introduce Mr. Mahul Kandar. For the second time, I'm interviewing him. Mr. Kandar is a journalist and international affairs specialist. A week or two ago, we were thinking of speaking mostly about Pak-Afghan war, but suddenly the Iran war flared up, and I think it superseded all other events in the South Asia. So we'll start with the Iran war. We know, Mr. Kandar, that U.S.-Israeli joint venture eliminated Khomeini and 48 other leaders in Iran, but the regime is still continuing. It didn't die down totally. So, what's your take about it?
So it wasn't just
Why they are still continuing?
so it wasn't just the leadership over there. What actually happened was one of the big targets that is not much talked about was the IRGC and Basij headquarters. And at the same time at which Khamenei and the others were taken out just before sunrise in Iran, you are aware of the conversation we had at 5:30 the previous evening, before the attacks happened, when I called you. The first thing that happened was they hit the IRGC bases and very large numbers of IRGC soldiers, literally thousands, were killed, as well as Basij. Recently, Basij headquarters also, have been completely wiped out, and pictures have come up in the media outside Iran. So there is a lot of destruction that the US and Israel together have caused. My personal view is that the heavy lifting would have been done by the US Navy because we have very, very powerful capabilities. Israel is a small country. They're very good. They're excellent in what they do, but they don't have the sheer, military power that the United States has. So a lot of the heavy lifting would have been done by the US. And the fact is that the regime continues, but to what extent it has power, we don't know, because Iranians are celebrating in the streets right now, and the kind of repression that we saw a few weeks ago has not happened. They have not been going around killing something like 60,000 people in 2 days like they did previously. So obviously the regime is weakened, but it still has power. But I think that it's a question of time before that is, beaten down and whatever little outposts are left are taken out. My personal view is that this may continue for a few more days, but I don't think the regime can last very long. This is my personal view.
Why, obviously we have different views from many of the developing nations. I wouldn't be surprised if I find that a great number, maybe majority of Indians, like Pakistanis or Bangladeshis, would be sympathetic to the regime. They probably fail to understand one thing. Maybe India is a democratic, secular country. Bangladesh is not a theocracy. But nonetheless, I can see the Bangladeshi media or even Bangladeshi YouTubers, the talking heads from Bangladesh, even Bangladeshi diaspora in America and other countries, they tend to support the monstrous Iranian regime. They don't understand one thing. I can clearly say, which was pointed out by Michael Rubin of American Enterprise Institute a few weeks ago in a National Press Club in DC. He said, he was giving an analogy. In a theocratical country, like, for example, like Iran or Afghanistan, the election is like one man, one vote, one time. I think I sent you a page, a screenshot of the power structure of Iranian leadership. You see their supreme leader, Supreme National Security Council, then Judiciary, Guardian Council. These are all appointed, okay, in a gray color, and also the Cabinet, Expediency Council, and Armed Forces. These are all appointed. In the middle, you can see the green colored Assembly of Experts, Parliament, and President. They are squeezed and they are elected. But you see one thing, Supreme Leader is like God. Ayatollah Khamenei was like God, and he was the wheeler and dealer of everything. And that was our J.D. Vance, our American Vice President, was saying the other day, it's very difficult to have a dialogue with the Iranian leadership because Khamenei doesn't talk to world leaders, presidents or others, maybe foreign minister. But Khamenei is ultimately the stakeholder, ultimate arbiter of the whole. So how you can have any normal, fruitful negotiation with a regime where the main person is behind the scene and pulling all the strings? And also, I mean, I would suggest those, I would politely ask those Bangladeshi YouTubers or journalists who have no clue how a Islamic fascist regime survives, sustains, and brutalizes the people. They have no clue. That's why they're supportive of the Ayatollah regime. The problem with this, unfortunate, I would not say they're brain dead. I would not say they're mentally challenged, but they are totally showing the symptom of very tunnel vision. This fascist regime would have lasted thousands of years. Now, my logic is one thing, that America may see there are a lot of dictators in the world. Yeah, even MBS or even Saudi government is a dictatorship, maybe to some extent. Many of the Gulf countries are not the epitomes of democracy. But why America does not want to wipe out those regimes? Answer is simple. From the get-go, in 1979, when Khamenei came to power, Khomeini and his henchmen wanted to wipe out Israel from the face of the earth. Exactly. I asked my Bangladeshi friends, supposing I want to finish your house, and I openly always say, day and night, do you think that you will bring me white roses or you would not?
Absolutely.
You'd like to finish me. So absolutely. They have to understand one thing. After October 7 brutal attack in Israel, this Ali Khamenei was sending Twitter messages that we have to wipe out Israel. What a heartless guy he was. So anyway, so my question is, do you have anything to say to those Indians or Bangladeshi journalists who are living in a parallel world or in a virtual reality? Do you have any message to them?
So it is not just journalists in India. There is an Indian diplomat. She is, I think, India's ambassador to France. She's a Bengali, Bhaswati Mukherjee. And the kind of nonsense that she has been talking, makes me wonder how somebody who is that stupid has managed to become an ambassador to represent India. It was almost as if she was a spokesperson for the Khamenei regime and not for India itself. She's been going around on a number of shows in India, and I've been openly critical of what she has been saying. So, at some level, I think there will always be a degree of anti-Americanism in South Asia in particular, and in India and in Bangladesh. I think this happens because of past history, the US's support for Pakistan, particularly during the Bangladeshi War of Liberation. They even tried to send, their 7th Fleet, I think, to assist the Pakistani army at that time, and they were stopped by the Soviets. So there are some old anti-American feelings which continue to linger over there. Pakistan, on the other hand, in my opinion, has become a basket case. They had protests for Qasem Soleimani, and if anybody has half a brain, they remember that when the clashes between the Tehreek-e-Jafriya, the Shia group, and the Harkat al-Ansar, which was the Sunni group, were going on, Soleimani actually threatened the Pakistanis, and he said, I'll enter your country and I'll take it over. These fools have no brains at all. They still went out and demonstrated, and they burned a few franchises of I think Burger King or McDonald's over there. What they had to do with this, I don't know. And they'll smash a few bottles of Coca-Cola, saying that that's a Jewish company. Again, not true. But that is how Pakistan operates. It's a country with a very low level of education, and there are a lot of stupid people. There are some intelligent people, of course, but they don't have a voice over there. So this is, these are old prejudices that are coming out and nothing else. I don't think we need to give too much attention to them, because it's simply not worth wasting time on that, sir.
No, I also say, I basically spoke about the Pakistan-US relationship and India-USA relationship also. The differences, between the two episodes or two scenarios. Pakistan, USA is like a, we can say sum up like this, that Pakistan is like a lapdog of USA. So in the last war, Iran-USA-Israel war last year's, if you go back to that time, you will see that Pakistani land was probably used by American forces. And this time also, I'm very much sure that Pakistan would not object if American soldiers stay, foot on Pakistani soil, to conduct their missions, inside Iran. So, right now, the situation in Iran is volatile. People, hundreds of thousands of people got killed, were on the street. Basij, the paramilitary force is very active and it's very brutal. You know that. Yes. Basij basically is a mad dog which comes to the street on motorcycles and others and kill people, and they brutalizes, and they take it to the jail. And in many cases, whoever go to jail, they don't come back. So people are rising. I know that I talked to a former Indian diplomat yesterday, and I gave this scenario that Iranians, home and abroad, are the most enlightened mass of people among all the Muslim majority nations. And I have Iranian friends. I mean, I have been interacting with them for the last 44 years. I know their heartbeat. I know how they feel about their country. I know their belief in religious area. Most Iranians are not at all religious. I mean, living in America, I'm telling you, 60 to 70%. On the other hand, if you compare them with the Bangladeshi or Pakistani or even Indian Muslims, you will see majority of them are becoming more and more hardcore religious. It's happening now.
True.
I mean, in a sense, religiosity is among Muslim diaspora, like Muslim Bangladeshis or Muslim Indians living abroad. It's a regressing, dynamic. It is not progressing. That is, they are not liberalizing their views. Rather, they are becoming more orthodox, more and more. So, on the other hand, Iranians, I see home and abroad, they are very liberal, non-religious, secular, and assimilating. For example, if you see Iranians living in UK or even USA, they have been assimilating with the mainstream Americans well, very, very adroitly, which is not the same in case of the Bangladeshis or Pakistanis. You understand?
Or even Indians, for that matter. Or even Indians, for that matter.
It is a ghettoization.
Yep.
If you go to East London, or even if you go to Brooklyn, in some parts of New York, you see ghettoization. Absolutely. And hardly any assimilation. And unfortunately, many analysts, like for the last 20 years, that they were thinking that all Iranians are mullah type. No, not necessarily. Opposite is the true. And I don't, basically, I don't condone that you have to be very much anti-religion because of the fault of some mullahs. But in reality, many Iranians, home and abroad, are becoming very much anti-Islam. Any comment on that?
That is true, sir. And even in Iran itself, if you remember, after the first round of protests started, before the brutal crackdown, one of the statements that Khamenei himself made was he said, these people have burned down 350 mosques. Khamenei said that himself. That was a statement that was flashed all over the world. It was on his Twitter account also, if I'm right about that. I'm guessing it was either there or I saw it quoted somewhere. So there has been, I think it is natural when there is this kind of repression that comes from a religious source. People will revolt against it after a time, and that's what happened in Iran. A lot of long back, there was a professor when I was associated with Muktomona. Her name was something Kirkhart. I forget her first name. I think Joanna Kirkhart. She told me, she said, watch something in Iran. She said, a lot of these Iranian girls are wearing the red thread on their hands. And that red thread was actually forbidden in Iran at that time, but they were able to get away because they were able to wear sleeves over that. And that is a symbol of the Zoroastrian faith. So she said, you're going to see an explosion of Zoroastrianism in Iran in the future. She told me this, 20 plus years ago when I was associated with Muktamona. And it's something that I've been thinking about of late because, number one, they refuse to wear the chador to cover their hair, these women. And the burning of the mosques has been a very, very strong message that they have sent the religious regime in Iran. Unfortunately, the US did not step in early, and between 60 and possibly as many as 100,000 protesters were killed by the Iranian thugs. But this time, I think we have gone in with strength and we have decided that we want to finish them off. Yesterday, the entire Iranian Navy was sunk, and there are also videos that US CENTCOM has put out of Iranian Air Force assets which have been completely removed. Totally wiped out by the US. The Israelis are, of course, on the ground together with their allies in Iran. And I think, this Islamization, which Khomeini and then later Khamenei brought onto the country, is going to reduce. It's not going to continue. It cannot happen, sir. Look at
No,
Eastern Europe.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And just to give in a personal, I want to give an anecdotal scenario. One of my good friends in Florida, Iranian American, he converted to Zoroastrianism maybe 2 years ago after Masa Amini was killed. So yeah, Zoroastrianism is also flourishing in Iran. Now, question is also some of my analyst friends, they were saying that Shiaism, for example, doesn't have any Qutub, Banna, or Wahab, like okay.
So they had Ali
Political Islam.
Shariati. They had
How
Ali
it happened?
Shariati.
But how some of my friends who are following Iran very closely, they say it is Khomeini who made it more political. Before that, Shiaism was not like political Sunni Islam, which was which was taken by ISIS, Al Qaeda, and many of the offshoots, or even in Bangladesh, Jamati Islami. You understand, Pakistan Jamati Islami, or even Taliban's, the political Islam Sunni brand. But there was no Shia brand until Khomeini stepped foot
Very
in
true.
Iran. Is it true?
I think it's very largely true, sir. In India, for example, we have a government run by Narendra Modi, which outside India, at least, a lot of people describe as a Hindu nationalist government. Now, people ignore the fact that one of his closest advisors and a close personal friend of Narendra Modi is the leader of the biggest the biggest Shia sect in India, that is the Bohris, Sayyidina Burhanuddin. He has been a close friend of Narendra Modi's for something like 50 years, and he has been his advisor. So, in India itself, the Shia community has been working very, very closely together with the Hindus. A lot of Hindus like to buy from Shia-owned businesses because they consider them to be very honest. They have a very good reputation over there. So that's a fact that is true outside Iran. In Iran itself, yes, Khomeini brought in this hardcore nationalism, but worse than that, sir, what he did and what later Khamenei did was they exported terror. Iran became the biggest exporter of terror until Al Qaeda and then later Daesh or ISIS, whatever you want to call it, came in. If you take the number of attacks, the attacks on the US Marine barracks in Beirut, the attack on the synagogues in Argentina, they were responsible for horrible crimes everywhere in the world. So this factor of extreme militant fundamentalism, the kind of violence that they exported all over the world. I mean, some say that the Shah was brutal, that he had his Savak, but many of the Savak joined Khomeini and they became Savama after the takeover in 1979. But the Shah did not export terror to other parts of the world, sir. Khomeini did. Khamenei did.
That is the point I was saying, I raised recently. A new Iran or future Iran under Reza Pahlavi will be no threat to any of the neighboring countries. For example, a secular modern Iran under Reza Pahlavi will be a peaceful entity. I mean, and obviously we know that secular people do not export secularism, for example, with the violence, for example. Okay, so and I can challenge that the news Iran under Pahlavi will be a friendly towards Pakistan, for example, absolutely. India, Afghanistan, even, and not to say about those Gulf countries. And I mean, can you ever imagine that Crown Prince Pahlavi leading Iran will be a threat to Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia? I mean, no. It will not happen in million years. You understand?
Absolutely.
So only problem might arise because Qatar, or even you can say to some extent Saudi Arabia, or even UAE, they might be, if they might feel threatened with the competition, new kid in the block. I mean, like in the oil exports and all this. But do you think, is it a big deal of a threat? I mean, or in a market, because oil market? I mean, do you think that Gulf countries will be very much alerted because of the new Iran's oil exports to Western world?
I don't think so, sir. I mean, already, the US the action in Venezuela has opened up a bigger source of oil than Saudi Arabia has. Venezuela has way more oil than Saudi Arabia has. A few years ago, the Biden administration also invested heavily in Guyana, which has also got enormous oil and gas reserves. And those countries are already supplying. I mean, India's Reliance Group recently placed, they bought 2 million barrels of oil from Venezuela. They were the first company to actually buy Venezuelan oil after the US deposed Maduro. So there are sources of oil that are coming up all over the world, and Iran has been supplying to India in the past. They've supplied to China. Maybe the supplies to China might, not continue along the concessional terms because they were underselling oil at, lower than international prices to the Chinese. So that may not happen. But for that matter, China has a pipeline that goes into Russia, so they're getting crude out of Russia also, and they're refining it in China. So I personally don't think that there will be any effect. On the other hand, what Iran is trying to do right now by attacking Dubai, by attacking Bahrain. Dubai is probably the most open economy in the GCC region, and Bahrain is a center for banking in that region. I mean, if you take AUMs, assets under management, Bahrain controls more than 10 times the amount of money that United Arab Emirates controls. Most of it is Saudi money, yes. There's also money from Europe and other countries. So Iran, the Iranian regime right now, or what is left of it, is trying to disrupt commerce in that part of the world. If this regime is gone, I don't see Reza Pahlavi doing the same thing. He's not going to, try and destroy the infrastructure in Dubai or in Bahrain or in Abu Dhabi, for that matter, just because he does not like them. That's what is happening right now, right? These are countries which wanted to stop the US from attacking Iran. But when the US went in, Iran did not hesitate to hit back at them.
That is incredible. That's incredible.
I mean, if you want a lesson on how to make enemies, I think they've proved it. Uh, there was some reports in Indian media saying that there was someone in Iran who gave a statement saying that the attacks on Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE were carried out by a rogue commander in the Iranian army. So are they telling us now that the regime, Arafi and others, they don't have any control over the Iranian army itself, where a commander can decide whom he wants to attack and start a war with? It's difficult to believe some of the nonsense that's coming out of there, sir.
Now, if you compare December, you say first week of December 1971, Dhaka city, Indian planes were in the sky, and many Dhaka residents were on the top floor, on the rooftop, cheering in all this, and waving to the planes. Same thing is happening in Tehran.
Yes.
And now, obviously the people on the street, they are supporting the intervention. Pahlavi asked for intervention, obviously, recently. Not he didn't actually go for it for maybe for the last few years, but recently he said, no, we need the intervention. And we know we need the intervention. We know without it, Iranian people could not sustain. Because the reason is IRGC buses has all the killing machineries they have.
Absolutely.
You see, it was so easy to topple a dictator like Hosni Mubarak of Egypt, or even Tunisian ruler, or even Sheikh Hasina in Bangladesh. Couple of weeks, people on the street, a government toppled. Obviously, in Bangladesh, there was international conspiracy. That's a different story. But I'm telling you that in Iran, it's not happening because they are all in cahoot. Like, for example, they are all intertwined. Basij, Ayatollah. Then in Bangladesh, for example, Bangladesh army betrayed Sheikh Hasina government. Definitely whole regiment after regiment betrayed. Police was loyal, but police could not, basically sustain the onslaught of the mobs, the millions of mobs who stormed Gana Bhavan. Anyway, now the question is that people support, maybe great number of people support, not everybody support Crown Prince. I'm talking about in Iran. And now you destroy the one after another headquarters from the sky. Not only that, there are mysterious gas leaks happening every day or every week, here and there. So I tell my friends who are, basically on the pessimistic side, they said, no, nothing will happen, nothing will. I said, even the ocean has limit. On Earth, everything has limit. It's not unlimited. Ocean has limits.
Absolutely.
So if you consider the power of the supreme authority in Iran, the mullahs, power is not unlimited. It's not infinite.
Yes.
It has limitation. It's going to fall. But cracks can happen even between the regime, because I believe one thing, that part of the, oligarchy, they will side with the people. I believe so, today or tomorrow. Regarding American administration, my friend, I think my analyst friend Amit Roy from Florida. Amit Roy was telling me that this is one of the greatest time when America is siding with basically helping the right side of the history, because America is always blamed. Oh, they do this wrong and that wrong. And we know that Trump can be blamed for tariffs and many things. And the most Indian YouTubers crucify Trump night and day. If you know Bangla, some Bengali YouTubers from Calcutta, they are attacking Trump right and left. Yeah, but they fail to understand this is a great job, great mission America is doing. If they decimate the Iranian theocracy, if they dismantle it, will be good for even Indian secular society.
Absolutely
It
true,
will be
sir.
good for
Absolutely true.
Pakistan. It will be good for
Yes,
Afghanistan. It will be good for Bangladesh,
yes,
which is infested with jihadis now,
yes,
in Bangladesh.
yes,
And not only that, the modernity and the Iranians will show how modern Iranians can live in a society which was once hardcore Islamic.
yes.
Any comment on that?
Absolutely true, sir. And to a lesser extent, we have seen that in Saudi Arabia also. Mohammed bin Salman he dismantled the religious police over there, the Mutawin, and he allowed women to drive. He has allowed women to go to shopping malls and shop on their own. They don't need a male companion to do that and things like that. And we have seen changes over there. They have music concerts happening in Saudi Arabia, something which was unthinkable before. In the United Arab Emirates, they've gone several steps further. They've allowed, the opening of temples as places of worship. So that has also happened. Temples and churches also, and they've allowed that. That has also happened. And I personally think that this will have a very, very positive repercussion on the world. And my suspicion, which I discussed with you privately previously, is that initially Qatar and Saudi Arabia were opposed to removing the Iranian regime because they were afraid that the regime change, or at least the move for regime change in Iran was being led by women. So they were most likely afraid that if this happened in Iran and the mullahs were removed, women in Arab countries would also demand similar rights, as the women in Iran are demanding. They are very clear. We don't want to cover our hair. We want to be able to dance. We want to be able to listen to music. So that would have been the fear in Saudi Arabia to a lesser extent, but in Qatar in a very big way, because that country has now become the forefront of exporting jihad and fundamentalist Sunni Islam. But just imagine a woman sitting in Qatar sees that just a couple of 100 miles away in Iran, women enjoy so much freedom. Would she accept the state of affairs in Qatar itself? Definitely not. Would a Saudi woman accept that? Again, no. Cross into Pakistan. Would a Pakistani? I mean, in Pakistan, you've got two extremes. You have some women who are extremely, let's say, like Western women or women in any other part of the world, and there are women who are extremely, oppressed under the shadar or the burqa or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, do you think that all of the women who are under the burqa in Pakistan would also not look at Iran and get influenced? So that would have been the fear of the fundamentalists. The main fear was not that there would be instability or anything. The main fear was that women's groups would begin to demand more rights. And that is what frightened these people. The fear which literally shook the houses of power in the Gulf monarchies was that. Now I think they seem to have realized that there is no way around it, that they will have to accept that, because to allow the state of affairs in Iran to continue and to allow the mullah regime to continue would only mean that they would come back even more viciously, and they would try their best to kill as many more people as possible, both inside as well as outside Iran. They were not going to stop. I mean, we know about the one man, at least in the United States, who was arrested by the FBI. He was, sent here by the Iranian regime to assassinate President Trump. Do we know how
And
many
a
more are there?
recent attack in Austin,
Yeah.
yeah, in Texas,
Yeah,
that,
in
yeah,
Texas,
yeah.
absolutely.
And do you know that something happened in Toronto? So I think my friend Sharjil told me that a gym owned by Iranian Canadians,
Yes, they had bullets fired into it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
bullets
Two
fired in the
bullets
gym.
were
So
fired into it.
it's like a backlash by the
Absolutely.
IRGC. Yeah, that's happening.
Absolutely.
Now, I want to go to the other subject, actually. That is the Pakistan-Afghanistan war. That happened, and suddenly it happened, and Pakistan launched attacks during the month of Ramadan. Remember?
Yes.
My
Yes.
funny, I want to give a funny point. Some of the very devout Muslim living in America, they commented. It came to my knowledge that they were saying, why Trump attacked Iran during the Ramadan. They never talked about Pakistan attacking Afghanistan during Ramadan. Did you see that? It's a double standard, because where infidel is attacking quote unquote Islamic country, then it's a big issue. You understand? Same thing happened with the many of the woke, people like liberal. That it happened collateral damage. I'm very sorry for that. Like there was something exploded, bomb attack or something exploded in a girls' school in
Sure,
Iran.
there is a controversy over that.
And I don't know whether it's
IRGC.
authenticated, but it's a big news
Yeah.
now. You understand?
It's fake
And
news.
nobody, those
IRGC men were
people
there.
who put in the Facebook, they didn't talk about, thousands of people are getting killed on the streets by the, Basij, on the motorcycle, or even
Absolutely.
the imported jihadis from Iraq, Afghanistan. And anyway, now Pakistan-Afghanistan war, I was thinking this way, that also that they killed, obviously, Pakistan Air Force targeted. See another thing also. Is it authenticated, the news that Akhundzada, that Afghan leader, was killed?
Hibatullah Akhundzada. I don't know, sir. The Pakistani media is claiming that he is dead. I have not heard.
Okay, Pakistani media is claiming. Okay, now my point is that it's $1 million question to you, or $1 billion question, Mr. Kandar. Now, there's no outcry in Bangladeshi media.
Absolutely.
Akhundzada wasn't he a religious leader in Afghanistan?
Yes. He was an imam.
Oh my!
Yes.
See, Pakistan killed Akhundzada. No outcry in the woke media of India, Bangladesh.
Absolutely.
Nobody talk about it. But Khomeini, do you see that double standard?
Yes.
Now, Pakistan actually did the same thing in Afghanistan. We know even in Kabul and Kandahar, that recently, that America and Israel is doing.
Absolutely.
What is the difference?
Absolutely.
Now let's go. Okay, Akhundzada, but we know that there were casualties in Afghanistan. Obviously, maybe I don't know how many hundreds of people got killed. I don't know how much of collateral damage. I don't know. Now you tell me, what is there any pause in the conflict between Afghanistan and Pakistan, or is there an official ceasefire implemented, or it's just suddenly it stopped because of the Iran war?
I have not heard of any ceasefire, sir. I have not heard of any ceasefire. Yesterday, I was talking to a friend in the Indian government, and he said that there was some communication they had received about Noor Khan Air Base coming under drone attack from Afghanistan. So I haven't seen anything.
That's very interesting story. Where did you hear this?
I heard this from a contact who is with the government of India. He is with the Ministry of External Affairs. I don't know because I've not seen it corroborated anywhere else. And that is why I want to still reserve judgment on whether it's happened or not until something gets confirmed one way or another. But the fact is that I don't see that war ending because neither side looks like it is willing to give up. Neither Pakistan nor Afghanistan. Pakistan has a huge professional army. They also have an air force which the Taliban don't have. So there is no way, the Taliban can mount anything other than minor terrorist attacks inside Pakistan. Whereas the Pakistani air force gives Pakistan the strength to, penetrate deep into Afghanistan and take out Taliban targets. But on the other hand, I think if you take the attitude of the Afghans, I think they will not stop. They would most probably.
Do you think that Pakistanis of Pashtun heritage, or the Pashtun Pakistanis, they are sympathetic to Afghan regime?
Some of them may be, but it's increasingly turning that way. So, people are not aware that in Sindh, in particular, Sindhi groups have long been boycotting Pashtun restaurants and shops. They don't buy from them. They've been boycotting them. So there are tensions inside Pakistan, but I don't know if they'll flare up. I don't know if they'll explode or anything like that. But it could happen. Again, I'm not aware. But I mean, the conflict with Afghanistan will not stop, sir. I don't see it stopping. I'll be frank. On the Pakistanis like to blame India for that, but I don't think India has any control whatsoever. They do have good relations, mainly because Basha Khan's granddaughter, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan's granddaughter, lives in India. She is the president of the Pashtun Jargah-e-Hind. Uh, she has been openly talking to the Taliban, calling them her brothers and things like that, carrying out diplomacy. And of course, India also has the Darul Uloom at Deoband, which is also supportive of the Taliban. So they have some communication with the Taliban, but I don't think India is capable.
But recently, that more communication. Mutaki, the foreign minister of Afghanistan, visited India, and he got red carpet treatment. He was sent to Deoband and all this. And we know that. And after that, more ministers came to India. And obviously, India has this opportune moment as right now. Because Pakistan proved to be always hostile to India, because Pakistan always, basically is clandestinely sending terrorists to Indian territory. And it happened again and again. You understand?
Yes.
But as I say, Pakistan is very good in terrorism exporter, as a terrorism exporting country. So in Bangladesh also, they were trying to do, and thanks heaven that election result did not side with their great design, basically. And, basically they wanted Jamaat to be in power, Pakistan regime. So BNP actually filed their plan. So the BNP is not going to be a puppet of Pakistan. I can tell you that. So anyway, but about Pakistan, we cannot ignore the situation in Balochistan. You said there was an attack in Nur Khan base by drones. Did you hear anything in Balochistan recently, like any kind of activity of the BLA, the Baloch Liberation Army, or any other insurgent groups in there?
So they're continuing to fight the Pakistanis, and they have got the support of the Taliban now, at least the Baloch groups.
So it's open secret now. Taliban, Baloch, Liberation Army, any kind of a linkage, or any kind of a understanding. You already.
I mean, there is quite a bit of evidence available of that. And, for both the Baloch are a lot more secular compared to the Taliban, but both of them seem to think along the lines of an enemy's enemy is a friend. So that's
right. Yeah, I agree with you. The Baloch Liberation Army is not like Taliban, if you consider the theologically speaking.
Yes. I mean, they had a group of girls, going and protesting in Islamabad, saying, "Give us our fathers and our brothers back." None of them wore, the head-to-toe burqa, which is mandatory in Afghanistan. Yes. So they have a much more secular approach. But I mean, when both sides are fighting the same enemy, you can expect them to, come together and coordinate. So my guess is that is what is happening over there.
I personally, I have just a. I can say funny feeling that Iran war might have some kind of a spiral, it comes spillover, effect in Pakistan. And I think it's possible that BLA or other insurgent groups in Pakistan may take advantage of the situation. What do you think about?
It could happen, sir. Part of Balochistan is, occupied by Iran. Part of it is with Oman, but that is fine because the Omanis themselves are technically referred to by Arabs as Indians, quote unquote. They are mostly of Balochi heritage themselves. So it is possible that this might have a knock-on effect. I don't know again, but I've heard people say exactly what you're saying, people who are vastly more knowledgeable than I am, which you are also on this matter at least. But it is possible. It is possible.
But Afghan regime, the Taliban regime at the moment is very much sympathetic to the Khomeini people. Don't you think so?
They may be, I mean, they've been getting supplies through Iran. A lot of their supplies have been coming in through Iran. But I mean, at the end of the day, sir, the Taliban were responsible for killing a lot of Hazara Shia and others, as you remember.
Oh, yes, yes.
So
Right,
they are
right.
not
Yeah.
always going to be very sympathetic to Shia regime. Let's see. I think it's a fluid situation. My only hope, dream, and desire is to see the mullah regime in Iran go. Once that happens, I think the world will be a better place.
We say like jointly Bahrai Azadi. Okay. So thank you.
Absolutely, sir. Bahrai Azadi and Dorud. Yes, which I learned
Darud.
from your friend.
Darud. Okay.
Dorud.
Thank you, Mr. Kandar, for a nice talk, and we'll talk more. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
It was great meeting you.
The pleasure is
Okay.
mine, sir.
Take care. Thank you.